Hey guys, good morning. Sorry I'm late. Afraid I got lost on the path of life.
Without further ado, the topic that everyone's been talking about in the Dragon Ball figure collecting community. The price of Metal Cooler. Now, this one stung a lot. This was a character I was really looking forward to seeing in figure form because I just love the metallic sleek design of Cooler. And I think he had some cool moments, no pun intended, in the movie. But Tamashii Nations took a page out of his book and said, price raises?
It's one of my favorite techniques.
Your favorites?
With that being said, we have, I was just trying to justify this price in my head. What could it be? I was like, okay, die cast. It has to be, right? Nope. We scroll down to the materials, PVC ABS. So no die cast. As far as I know, none of that stands for some type of metallic usage. So I was like, maybe the paint. Maybe this is all painted and some type of reflective paint. And maybe that's why it costs so much. Even that wouldn't make sense for them to do, because that seems like a scratch magnet. But it might be that anyways, considering that they most likely molded this in whatever metallic plastic this is. So every excuse in the book, I was trying to cook up in my head. I was like, none of this makes sense, man. I was like, if this costs this much, then why is Orange Piccolo cheaper than this? Definitely a larger figure than this, especially since I've seen it in person. But definitely a larger figure than this figure. So I don't get the logic behind that. And another thing that makes this really painful is, for example, I know most people won't pay it, but I know somebody will. If this is the retail price, imagine the secondary market price. Good grief. And with that being said, we're gonna go to a different site real quick. Big Bad Toy Store, as you can see, over what, $50 more, $55 more, and that's not including shipping and handling. You got the $17.59 refundable down payment. Now I know why Big Bad costs this much. They basically buy the figures like we do, and in order to make a profit, they gotta sell it for more. Even with that being said, Big Bad is like our last resort, and typically they sell out slower because of the exorbitant price, as you can see here. Now, I actually saw one figure that was worse than this, but that's for a whole separate video. But yeah, these prices, I know some of it, I understand inflation and whatnot, but I don't think some of this was inflation at all. Now, this is something I'm nervous about, is will this set the precedence for future premium Bandai releases, because they already been pushing it with some of the prices. But Cooler, it went too far. It got people like, nah, I'm good. Now I also have seen receipts where it was like $450. I was like, yeesh. But I guess you big baller if you got it like that, right? If you got it, I'm assuming if you buying like multiples of these at the regular premium Bandai price, that you a big baller. You got money to spend. And who am I to tell you how to spend your money, right? Now I might try to dissuade you, hey, this is not the best deal, but at the end of the day, you're gonna do what you want to do. But with that being said, I wanted to talk about, let me go to back to the premium Bandai website. But yeah, to close that last thought out, I hope that other movie figures don't end up being this expensive, because I can only imagine how they're going to try to do Broly, and they better not do them like that. But right here, stopped on it perfectly. These hips right here are what I'm thinking is going to be the future for characters with skin tight uniforms. So basically Vegeta, and of course Super Broly. And speaking of Super Broly, he already had hips similar to this in the Super Saiyan form, regular Super Saiyan form, not the full power Super Saiyan version. No, that one too might have had the same similar hips to this. And this is what I think Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta's hips should have been, but they aren't, and so here we are. But that's something very important. I think they can really take advantage of these new hips. But with that being said, and also it didn't seem like they stayed on the Jiren style hip, Jiren Gohan Super Saiyan 4 Goku style hips for very long. They're moving over to this new look that Trunks, Orange Piccolo, and now Metacooler has for the hips. So this is very interesting. You'll see if it works any better. I know it looks, well, probably from their perspective, it could just look better. But also, this second part of the video is going to be about my experience at this event. So just to give y'all a little backstory. Thursday, so I went on Friday morning. Thursday night going into Friday morning, I decided to stay up all night, basically. So I was already tired going into the event, and then I saw one of you commented, asked me if I was there at the event, and I was like, yo, I'm about to leave. I'll be there in like an hour. I don't know if you'll still be there, but I'm not sure how that would have worked out anyways. Well, I guess, yeah, it would have been difficult to work out, because I don't even want to get into that. But after what, about an hour of travel, 45 minutes of travel, finally make it to Manhattan. I meet up with my homie, and luckily he came in clutch, because you needed a ticket to go in at different, like they had people, like once on the ticket was a time, and you were scheduled to go at that time if you on whatever ticket that you got. So if you got a 12 o'clock ticket, you're scheduled to go in at 12. Now, mind you, me and my homie, we got there at 10 something, like 10. Well, he got there a little bit. He got there before me. I got there like 10:15, 10:20, something like that, if I'm not mistaken. And then he hands me a ticket, and it says, he's like, yo, we gotta wait until 1. I'm like, bruh, 1 o'clock? I was furious. I was like, what am I gonna do? Sorry for that, by the way. What are we gonna do for what? Roughly 3 hours or 2 hours and some change? So we walked around for a bit. Before we even get to us walking around, there was some gentleman who, I don't know what he was off of, what type of drug or alcohol he was off of. He was gone on the floor. They had the people from the ambulance, what do you call them, paramedics? I could be completely wrong, don't quote me on that. But they had the people from the ambulance about to pick him up. Now, the reason why I bring that up is not to highlight that. Well, it was a crazy story to highlight, but I have a theory, and my friend said this too. When we got back, we talked to one of the people that was in charge of, keeping the line in order, and he's like, oh, we're behind by half an hour. I was like, bruh, we gotta wait until 1:30 now, so we had to wait until 1:30. 1:30 finally came, finally got online. I didn't meet anyone, but then again, how would they, like, it's very possible that one of y'all could have, that lives in New York, could have walked right past me and not even known it, and same, vice versa. But either way, you finally get inside, and the event is almost exactly how I thought it would be, which is basically a Comic-Con section. So if you ever been to Comic-Con, you know that Tamashii has actually a pretty big, sizable section for all the displays for their stuff and figures and whatnot. And that's essentially what it was, except it was in Grand Central Terminal of all places. But I guess in a way it makes sense, because you got so many different people walking by, and you might catch somebody and be like, yo, what is this? Yo, what? I never even knew this was gonna happen today. Next thing, now they asking questions, now they figure out how they can get online and whatnot. So I guess in a way you're attracting a lot of customers that way. But purchase was smooth. When you were waiting online, they gave you an order sheet. You checked off whatever figure you wanted and the quantity of it that you wanted. And once you got to the register, the person giving you your stuff, hand them the sheet, you pay, and that was that. And then, of course, you had the opportunity to look at everything that they had coming out in the future, the different displays. But I was kind of over it at that point. I seen some cool displays of stuff. I will say this: Gohan Beast looks really pretty damn good in person. Like I thought he looked good in picture, but I think seeing him in person definitely made me a bit more hyped for him, for sure. The repaint for the Saiyan armor Trunks, that looks really good. Yo, surprisingly, the paint on the hair looks pretty good in person. I was actually sold on the figure. Now, the only thing that sucks now is that future Trunks figure that's coming out is a pretty damn tall figure for Trunks. Like, he's the same height as Goku. And Ignore the scratching at my door. That's my cat. But that Trunks is basically Trunks when he was going back to the future after they defeated Cell. That's the height that this new future Trunks is, and I don't mind it. I think he looks cool. But also, I keep on forgetting this Trunks. I'm almost certain is based on the Fighters model, and that Fighters model of Trunks isn't exactly super short, or not, or look just a little bit taller than Vegeta, how he is depicted in some artworks. He actually is like very reasonably sized to Goku. But that's another thing. What else? Yes, I've seen everything in person. I didn't get much footage. That's why you're not looking at footage right now, because I was just over. I just wanted to go home. I got the stuff, wanted to go home, and then oh yeah, every purchase over $100, you got this free action figure stand. So that was cool, I guess. But overall, the event wasn't bad at all. It was good. I think what dampened my experience is me being tired and wanted to kind of just go home. So, you know, something that I forgot to mention in the main video is Metacooler's accuracy to the source material. So there's been different going back and forth on this. So I was like, when I first saw him, I loved the way he looked. I loved the chrome look. But I was like, this doesn't seem accurate to how he looked in the anime with the green tint to his metal. But then my man Cyrus pointed out, well, what color is Namek? Green. The grass is green, the sky is green. So he's basically reflecting the green off. But then, scrolling on Instagram, a gentleman by the name of Havoc Toys on Instagram, he made a post saying, well, even when he wasn't on Namek, he was that same color. So that point is kind of voided. So I don't know what to make of it. I think it could be either or. I think it could be simple, something as simple as the original intention was for him to reflect the green, but other artists interpreted that as his actual color. If that's the case, then so be it. If it's the other way, but I guess that doesn't really matter, because what we see in the source material is that color anyway. So most of the depictions have that color. So it would be smart to make them in that color. But either way, I'm not upset at what we got. Also, I mentioned this to Cyrus, and then I later saw it on Havoc Toys page. But we both were thinking that this is a very good candidate for event exclusive type of figure, where he'll have the original anime colors to him, and I can see him being sold at a cheaper price point because of the backlash that they got for this price point. And you can tell when they're really trying to push a figure, because all of a sudden you just see a whole, like, usually you'll see advertisement for a figure. But for example, with Gohan Beast and Orange Piccolo, you didn't see a whole lot of advertisement behind it because they were reasonable prices, or at least prices that people found reasonable for them both respectively. But I noticed whenever it's a set of figures that they really want somebody to get, that tells me that they're probably not selling as much as they think. And you saw this with the Gammas, and now you're seeing this with Metacooler. Even down to like the little stop motion thing that they put on their page, which it was sort of not a stop motion, kind of, for lack of a better term, stop motion thing they put on the page of Metacooler and Super Saiyan Goku fighting. That's more just, you know, trying to hype it up to get people to buy it. But y'all messed up. Y'all made this price a little too high. But with that being said, peace out.